In the 1950s, women were advertised by society to be the cleaners, cookers, and caretakers of the house for their male counterparts. This ideology that women can only cook, clean, and take care of the house dates back to prehistoric era where like the men went out to hunt for food and look for land and stuff, while the women stayed at home to take care of the house and the children. This idea continues on throughout our life, but it has changed after the 1960s and 70s with the women's rights movement. Now a lot more women have rights now, but back then in the 1990s it was a different story. There was advertisements that reinforced the idea at the time that women were the weaker sex. They were only supposed to cook and clean. One of the advertisements that I saw was one with uh, a kitchen blender, and in this advertisement, which was from a magazine, it showed a blender, and the above text said, "The chef does everything but cook. That's what wives are for." So this reinforces the idea that only women can cook, and even the slogan of the company says that I'm gonna buy that for my wife. So yeah, the men at the time wanted women to become their wives again because after World War II, uh, after World War II, the men came back home and wanted to be the only ones to make money, since the wives were the only one who were working before that. So they were trying to get back to the social norm that the men were very accustomed to, and with these ads, they just tried to beat the idea back into the heads of everyone. Um, I personally don't agree with any of this. Some of the advertisements they used back then were ridiculous, and I highly recommend people looking some of this up. One of the advertisements that I found was one for Battleship. It showed a father and his son playing a game, and yeah, they were having a good time. They were smiling, laughing, having a general good time. But in the back of the advertisement, it showed the man's wife and his daughter cleaning the dishes, watching the men play, and smiling because they were having a good time because the men were having a good time. It was just the social norm back then, so I can't really go against people who made these advertisements because that's what their job was and that's what they thought was right at the time. Right now, if someone was to do that, yes, it would be very wrong and it will be met with complete backlash. But at the time in the 1950s, it was the norm, so I can't really say anything against them. However, what we can learn from these advertisements is that like women are not what they made out to be. They're smart, they're independent, they can do things just as well as men, and if not better. But we still have some ways to go until that happens, until we're totally equal. But until then, this is how it is.